Am I in the wrong place is the question. One of my fingers is bleeding a bit. Confusingly, there's a sign for the playground, but there's no actual entrance except through the bushes. Seem to have a little unexpected problem. Right there, down in the path I want to take, there's a couple of people in high-vis vests. As it happens, the door is locked. Hi everyone, it is a cloudy July morning and I'm standing on a field on the edge of the town of Kornwestheim, and right behind me here is the northern edge of the city of Stuttgart. And I will right now go and try to cross the entire city of Stuttgart without using a single road. Let's go! We are starting here on this nice path between two fields with corn on one side and golden grain that looks ripe for the reaping on the other. And we've caught a pretty nice day. It was fairly rainy for most of this July, but now the sun has come out a bit. The clouds are disappearing and I don't expect a ton of rain. So we'll hope for nice weather throughout. So when I say crossing Stuttgart without using any roads, you might have some questions like, what? Or why? Or no, seriously, why are you doing this? And I will ignore most of these questions for now. But I will tell you what I mean by not using any roads. I'm not the first person to come up with this concept. It has been done for at least the city of Birmingham and Hamburg, as far as I know. But the idea is that I will have to cross roads, that's unavoidable. But I will not walk on or along any roads that you could drive on with your car. So if it's marked as a road, has a street name, and you can drive on it with your car, it's not a road. No, then it is a road and I'm not gonna use it, including any pavements running along that road. What I'm walking on right now is just kind of a paved field path, which is closed for public motor traffic, with the exception of if you're like a farmer with a tractor, and those are allowed. Like if you wanted me to, I could just walk across the muddy field over here. But that's kind of the rules I set for myself. But I will try to stick to that as good as I can. I have like a path mapped out that I have checked in most places, and I'm pretty sure that I will be able to follow. But there are like one or two spots where the entire challenge could go south. So we'll see about that. Now, one thing about Stuttgart that you might know is that it's a fairly hilly city. Famously, the inner city is kind of in a pot in the Kessel with it rising towards all sides. But even outside here, I'm still quite a ways outside the actual city. I'm kind of have to descend into a valley now and then back up on the other side and then down again. And that's going to be quite a common theme for this challenge, I'm afraid. Usually, if you're doing any sort of outdoorsy mission, brambles are your worst enemy, but it is blackberry season right now. So I am hoping for quite some bramble hedges where I can steal some nice juicy blackberries. We're now descending into the valley of the Feuerbach, and I think that lovely little place there that you see with the thin church steeple there is the lovely old village of Zatzenhausen, now part of the Stuttgart borough of Zuffenhausen. And up there on that ridge are Freiberg and Mönchfeld, and which is where I will pass through. So I will have to kind of go back up that slope as soon as I'm down and have crossed the creek. Okay, I just took a wrong turn. I was actually supposed to go through here, I think. The thistles are nice and high. We are firmly off the beaten or paved path, and now I'm already on less friendly terms with the brambles because the ground is kind of covered in their tentacles that are trying to rip apart my ankles, so I'll have to watch where I'm treading. And now we're approaching to cross our first road of the trip right here. Don't know what it's called, but for example behind me you can see that sign which says no motor vehicles except for like agricultural things, which means the way I've just came is in fact legal, not a road. But this in front of me is just a road that cars can drive on. So we'll cross it and not walk along it, right here over into the ditch on the other side and onto this second agricultural path. And right in front of us there runs the Feuerbach Creek, which we will cross in a second. That creek not only gives the Stuttgart borough of Feuerbach its name, because it was used for water to put out fires, but this general valley, the upper Feuerbach Valley, das obere Feuerbachtal, is one of the nicest areas in Stuttgart if you want to, for example, go cycling, like this gentleman is doing. So if you like cycling, this is kind of a flat valley in a city that is otherwise very hilly, and you can go try to check that out. Oh, and just as I say this, I spot not only more blackberries in these bushes, but a tree full of mirabellen. Let's see if they are ripe. Oh, they're delicious. Sweet. I'll just pick up a few to aid me on my merry way. We're now about to cross the Feuerbach on this bridge here. This valley is lovely. I've seen like people cultivating pumpkins, apple trees, those blackberries. Here you can see the river has quite a bit of water because it has been raining, which also meant that when I walked through the higher grass earlier, the grass was wet and my shoes are not waterproof, so I did get quite wet feet, which I think I have to go this way. Let me check. This path doesn't seem very trodden. Ow, I just got caught in some brambles, and just running between some bushes and some Schrebergarten secured with barbed wire. If you don't know what a Schrebergarten is, it's kind of an allotment. It's something that Germans are very fond of. It's just a little garden for people who don't have a garden next to their house or flat, where they can grow vegetables or just have it as a little garden, as a little retreat. And Germans are very particular about them. Like, you won't, like, if you're in a residential area, you won't see houses fenced off with barbed wire or anything. But for Schrebergarten, barbed wire fences tend to be kind of the norm, and that's something we will see reoccur later in this challenge. There's supposed to be a little fountain here. I don't know if the water is drinkable. No, I don't see any way for me to get water here, but they have a little plaque about it. Okay, I almost thought I had to do some trespassing there among these Schrebergarten, because I probably thought I didn't scout out the area correctly. But I think right this behind here is a playground. Confusingly, there's a sign for the playground, but there's no actual entrance except through the bushes. But that should allow me to get up there without having to pass the road or use the road that runs on top there. Let's try. This is a bit hard if you do it one-handed because you're holding a phone to film. But it's probably not the only time we'll have to make our way through some bushes. Okay. And this is a playground. Okay, we made it up. We're now on a little path above, and now I'll make my way past these big housing blocks. Now it starts to get a bit more tricky because so far we've mostly been in like rural back garden areas, but now we actually have to cross an actually populated place, Freiberg up here. And there are some barriers because they're doing some construction here, but I think we'll still manage to make it through these people's not quite private paths here. I hope the good people of Freiberg don't mind me crashing through their bushes a lot, but now we're back between the two houses. I want to cross in between, and up there is going to be the major road. So here we are. This is a footpath, as we can see. I forgot to mention earlier, this part we're in now is Freiberg, which is part of the Stadtbezirk, the borough of Mühlhausen, whereas where we were earlier, down in the valley, that still all belonged to Zuffenhausen. And I'll try to give you a bit of a guidance through which Stadtteile we're actually going through. And now the sun has come out in full force. I have already taken off my sweater, and I'm glad about the sunscreen I put on in spite of the clouds that were still out when I left. Okay, so crossing the U-Bahn lines now. Now, crossing road number 1. Remember, crossing roads is fine. And we will immediately follow that with crossing another road around the corner. Oops. Over here. We will of course wait for the green light, because we are good. Ah, that was quick. We're good and conscientious Germans. So that's the U-Bahn station Himmelsleiter, which means ladder to the sky, which is quite poetic. And now right in front of me, I got something that is maybe both an aid and an obstacle. It is this giant building that is the Baden-Württemberg Central of the German retirement insurance office. And I will try to use their beautifully landscaped parts here with this cool bronze sculpture to get over to that side without using a road, and we'll see if that works out. Okay, I've now made it over the balcony down into their parking lot. Apparently they have a little climbing wall there. Maybe that's for the employees. Very nice of you. If you want to work at, if you like climbing, consider working at the Deutsche Rentenversicherung. And over there is our next parking lot. Remember, our parking lot is not a road, even though you're allowed to drive on it with your car. Just have to make my way through these bushes here, I think. I'll see you on the other side. I'm noticing that I'm mostly telling you when I'm about to do something or when I've just done something. It's a bit of tell, don't show. Maybe that's not ideal from a cinematographic perspective. And also maybe I should look more into the camera, not on my image on the screen, so it actually looks like I'm looking at you. Just the bridge over the train line down there, which is not a train line you've probably ridden on. It's the train line that goes from Kornwestheim through Sachsenhausen down to Turkheim or somewhere. It's mostly used for freight these days. Kornwestheim is still a decently sized freight train station, although it's not quite that relevant as a passenger station. But the Kornwestheim S-Bahn station is still written as Kornwestheim PBF for Personenbahnhof. Right now I'm on this little path that runs alongside the train line to my right, and then along some Schrebergarten on the left. And when this path ends, we'll simply keep following it. We are now up here almost level with the train tracks. You see the sign, this looks like I'm not allowed to go there, but in fact it says Überschreiten der Gleise für Unbefugte verboten, crossing the tracks, which is not what I'm planning to do. I'm planning to walk along them, which apparently I am allowed to do. And other people, some keg beer enthusiasts, have been here before me, it seems. And I am planning to make my way down along here somewhere. Oh, there's people. That's not ideal. Ooh, there's people. Let me see what I do. Seem to have a little unexpected problem. Right there, down in the path I want to take, there's a couple of people in high-vis vests. I don't know if they're actual like train employees. I presume they're just there to like cut all the vegetation and the debris from the slope next to the trains. But there's like several of them, and I don't think I can actually easily get past them. I might have to improvise, maybe crossing the train tracks up here, because down there's like a tunnel through the train tracks by foot that you can go by foot, and I would much prefer that over like crossing the train tracks overground, which is something that is not A, illegal, and B, quite dangerous to do. So we'll see how we get across there without getting shouted at. Okay, it's all good. I just walked down there past the people. They were like these guys down here in the high-vis vests, very friendly. They were just doing some gardening, and I just walked up there towards the guy until he saw me, and when he didn't say anything, I thought, okay, I guess I can just walk past. I'm here at this wonderful little tunnel that goes below the train tracks, which is definitely my preferred way to go past train tracks. Ooh, that's a wonderful, wonderful echo in here. And now we are heading out under the branches of this beautiful willow into what is a park. I forgot the name, Tapachwiese, Tapach something. And this is the beautiful tunnel entrance overhung by the willow, which I think when I last went here, the willow was kind of yellow, making it one of the prettiest sights that I saw. Now I'm just kind of making my way up over the meadow as a shortcut. There is a lot of like small nettles here, so I'll have to be careful about my feet. Ba-dum, ba-dum. Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Ba-dum, ba-dum. Sorry to all the insects I'm disturbing in my walk here up the meadowed slope. But we are making good progress, I think. And now we're again on paved paths in a park, not roads. Okay, now the train is passed. We have quite a lovely viewpoint here. This is the train line we just crossed. I was mistaken, by the way. There are also regional passenger trains running on that line. And then up there is Mönchfeld and Freiberg, where we came through, and Mühlhausen at the bottom at the end. And then over there, I think, is like Neugereuth and the other side of the Neckar. We will now continue through this park. Maybe take a little break in between. And I'll tell you more when there is more to see. I should probably mention that this is by no means a one-day thing. You will probably say day one in the title of this video or whatever. But the entire crossing is just too long for me to handle in a day. I don't have that much stamina, and even for someone with better stamina than me, it is just quite a long stretch to walk. So I'll split it up into 2 or 3 legs, and I will just start each day where I left off the previous one. Today I'm feeling good. I'll just keep going for as long as either my stamina or my phone battery or my water supplies leave me. Because obviously this path is not planned to lead by all the perfect fountains and public buildings where I can fill up my water bottle, but I'll do my best. There's a Sportverein, a sports club somewhere coming up ahead. Maybe they're open and will give me a bit of water. This innocent looking white building here, now you can see it better, is in fact a weather station of the German weather service, the Deutsche Wetterdienst, who I'm of course very grateful to for accurately predicting the weather for this and the previous days, so I don't have to do this in the rain, but can do it in the sunshine, where I'll probably get a sunburn on the places where I didn't put sunscreen. But also, as we are here, we are crossing from what was before the Bezirk of Mühlhausen, or maybe a corner of Zuffenhausen-Roth, for a short while into the Bezirk of Münster, which is mostly down at the Neckar, but we're here kind of on the back roads. That was going the wrong way there, I have to go this way. Now, you probably would have heard of most of these boroughs that we've been in so far. That's because we've mostly been, these are outer boroughs, we're in back lanes. But rest assured, we will actually, on this trip, come past quite a lot of the most important sites that Stuttgart has to offer. We're going straight through the inner city, and we're going to see some more things that are very characteristic and very famous for the city. So this type of no roads mission is, at least in part, quite valid as a guided tour of a city. Okay, so the nice people of the Turnverein Cannstatt here were nice enough to fill up my water bottle. I don't really like the roadness of this street, just because there's a lot of cars, and I think maybe it had street view or something. So I'll backtrack and make sure this is not part of a way, just to be perfectly sure, just to be perfectly safe. We'll go back down one way below, which is definitely an agricultural path. Here we have the baseball stadium of the Stuttgart Reds. I've never actually seen it open, I've never been there. But I guess it is summer, it is baseball season. And if you're interested in baseball in Stuttgart, come see the Stuttgart Reds. Maybe, I don't know, if I ever publish this video, the summer will probably be already over. But yeah, So we're back on the path, which is right where we left off. So even if you consider that street up there a road, which I guess I would, we can make sure I didn't use it to make any sort of progress. So we're still in the green, I think. What you see here, we have like a magnificent view now, here in between the vineyards. Probably down the Neckar Valley, you see back there the silhouette of the Stuttgart Stadium, like MHP Arena, or whatever they call it these days. These vineyards are very characteristic for Stuttgart. Stuttgart has a lot of vineyards and used to have a lot more. It used to be one of the biggest wine producing cities. This was like in the early modern times, wine was basically the only branch of the Stuttgart economy. Everything that wasn't like the central old part of the city, everything here would have been vineyards, even where there's now, of course, the houses for hundreds of thousands of people, would all have been vineyards. At one point, Stuttgart produced like 800 liters of wine per person per year. So like including men, women, children, 800 liters per person per year. It was the third biggest wine producing city, I've heard, in the Holy Roman Empire, after like Vienna and Würzburg. So wine is very important to Stuttgart's history and obviously landscape, although you probably associate southern Germany more with like beer cultivation. Obviously we have beer breweries here as well, but historically wine was where it was at for Stuttgart. There's a monument there for the Rebflurbereinigung. I suppose when they cut away that area, when they deforested it to plant wine there. I don't exactly know why that deserves a monument specifically, but there was a little plaque up there as well about how they like cut some area free to plant potatoes. Apparently that is something to be memorialized here in this area of Stuttgart. We are now deep into the Schrebergärten, and it being a random Tuesday and also the weather was predicted to be very cloudy, I was hoping that not be a lot of traffic here. But of course you can never underestimate German retirees' abilities to be in the Schrebergarten at every time of day. So I'll have to see if trespassing here is an option, if it's my only option. Otherwise I would have to go further down there and cross on a parking lot. We'll have to see. Okay, update. I've tried going over a fence in like something that's not a private garden, that's just kind of fenced up area, which did not go so well. It had like spikes, and now the spikes actually punched through my shoes a bit, which is annoying, and now also one of my fingers is bleeding a bit. So I'm going to go the safe route, which is just here over the parking lot of this shooting club. So we're crossing this parking lot, up this little flight of stairs. There's also a little restaurant here if you're into shooting and eating, I guess. Pretty sure this is not a road, but up there is definitely where the forest path starts. This is where the path continues. What I will have to do, however, is go up there, cross a road that's up there, bring us officially into Cannstatt, and then on the other side of the road will be another forest path that I can follow for a short while. But this is kind of a bit of an athletic, bit of an adventurous stretch of the entire mission compared to the walks in the park that we have had earlier and will have for much of the second 2/3 of this challenge. Just came through there. That was not a deliberate trespass, but hopefully up here leads us to the road. I can certainly hear it already. Yeah. Oh, someone left a telescope saw lying around here. Terrible. Okay, I'll find a way through that. I might need both my hands for this, but... Why is there a fence? I'm sure that was easier last time I tried it. Yeah, probably because I tried it here. Probably came up there. There's no fence there. Alright, I'm gonna need two hands. Okay, I made it, and that path over there is right where I want to go. Just have to wait for a gap in the traffic, because this is a fairly busy road. but one seems to be coming up right now. There's going to be quite a bit of difficulty in route planning here, because there's a lot of roads with private stuff in between with few paths, but for now we're here in an official little park. Okay, so where this path goes up, it goes parallel to a road, which looks a bit too much like a pavement off the road to me, so I wouldn't count that, but we can just go through here, past the vineyard, where we're not disturbing anybody. Hopefully the wine, how do you call a wine farmer? Oh, a vineyardist, viniculturalist, hopefully they aren't around. Okay, we're into the vineyards now, and we just need to go parallel here a bit and then down, and then we'll have another path. This is mostly just because the path up there is, to me, too much along a road, and down there is also just some roads they're actually allowed to use. Now I should be paying attention that I'm not like walking into any property owners here. We continue to have stunning views as we make our way through these vineyards. The thing with vineyards is they're very easy to cross in one direction, lengthwise, like so. But to go across a vineyard is very difficult, because you either have to sneak below every single row of grapes. So I'm very glad I don't have to do that at any point. I think here's where we go downhill. We're at the bottom end of this. We will expect a footpath. Okay, down here somewhere there needs to be a gate to a path. Otherwise, we have an issue. And that gate I am currently not seeing. Am I in the wrong place is the question. There, I found it. But I will need both hands for this gate. There we go. Super easy, barely an inconvenience. And we are heading up this path. And soon we will be back in a huge amount of vineyards. Oh, hi. Here. Come here. Scared cat. But hello. Do you want to say anything to YouTube? Apparently not. Up there you can see the roof of the Burgholzhof Tower, which is a very nice viewpoint if you ever want to have a nice walk through the vineyards. Just head up there and see what you can see from there. The view will be at least as good as this one. I'll give you a little rundown of all the parts of Stuttgart you can see there a bit later. And over the sill we now see in front of us Robert Bosch Krankenhaus, the hospital where, fun fact, I was born. But we won't go straight by it, we'll instead make our way down to one path lower, which is a bit of a shortcut, right through the vineyards here. We will go for, unfortunately, what will have to be our final little bit of trespassing for today, if not for the entire challenge. Because there's the little roads that go past the hospital around, but I'm not quite sure if they're how much they count as a publicly accessible road. So I will try to go a slightly different way that is more in the spirit of the mission. And I think our target is right there, that green door in that hedge, which hopefully is open and allows us to walk between the different Schrebergarten until we get to the point where we need to be. I will be quiet because there will be people here, so take care. As it happens, the door is locked. Looks very brambly indeed today, because I went to find a little geocache. It's Waterfowl Tuesday. Does this bridge have a floor? No, it does not.